Would you like to take better portraits? Take a look at this portrait. What do you think? Well, here's what I think. It's not a portrait, and I'll tell you why. Let's have that image from the opener back up. Now, this image is sharp, it's well exposed, and it's reasonably well framed. It's clearly a picture of that person. So why isn't it a portrait? Well, what did it actually say about that person? I'll tell you what, nothing. It's head and shoulders. Its only function in life is to tell us what that person looks like. It's the kind of image you put on a security pass. It says absolutely nothing about that person. It doesn't portray them or their character at all. Now, let's rewind a little. Portrait. The dictionary tells us a painting, drawing or photograph or engraving of a person, especially one depicting only the face or head and shoulders. What? That's a bit old hat, isn't it? Isn't that just playing to the old stereotypes? Back to the dictionary and we find this. A pictorial representation of a person, usually showing the face. So, hang on, we can be a bit more expressive and holistic in our approach to portraying the subject, as long as we include the face. Now, hold that thought, we'll return to that later. Let's look at a painting that was done 150 years ago. Here's a portrait of a young girl. She's walking along a country lane. Her shawl's ragged, her headscarf is thick despite the warm day. It's a winter scarf, she can probably only afford one, so being warm in the winter is more important. We know it's summer, the leaves on the tree are thick. She has a basket of food, but she's shielding it from the sun. Her gaze is fixed on the viewer. She seems sad, vulnerable maybe. Could she be selling whatever's in that basket? Is her outstretched hand asking for money? Can you see what the artist's done here? He's painted a scene and he's saying something about her. He's demanding a reaction from the viewer. The environment, the clothes, the expression, the composition, the lighting, they all go together to make the portrait of that girl. So why do so many people show us how to do portraiture videos and learn portraiture technique in just 5 minutes? They've got hacks, they've got tips and tricks. They do those tutorials because it's easy and it's quantifiable. They can show you how to sit somebody down, do a 3-point lighting set and get reasonable head and shoulders pictures. You can even go the whole hog and add a bit of extra soft focus or vignetting and hey presto! They taught you how to do a portrait. No, you haven't. They've taught you how to do a head and shoulders. So if you want to do portraits, what's the most important thing you need to be able to do? Some would say lighting. Get the lighting right and you're onto a winner. Some would say composition. An interesting composition is going to lift the picture, right? Challenge the viewer. Move the image away from that headshot. Some would say environment. Definitely where you take the image is going to have a huge impact. And some would say mood, how they appear, how they look. That's going to affect the viewer's opinion, make them happy or sad for the person in the picture. Me, what do I think the most important part of portraying somebody in a photograph is? Well, you might be surprised, but I think the most important thing is talking. That's right, talking. Talk in detail to the subject before you shoot them. What makes them tick? What kind of person they are? Things that matter to them. You see, if you've got to capture their personality, not their likeness, well, you can't do that without knowing something about their personality. I went to do a portrait of Olympic medalist Mark Lewis Francis. I chatted to him for a while and it soon became apparent that his whole life had led up to this one thing, an Olympic medal. Everything that he'd ever worked for from a child, everyone that had supported him his whole life led to this one thing, nestled in his hand. So that was my portrait. At the beginning of the film I did say, we're going to come back to this, because some would say it's not a portrait, we can't see his face. Well yeah, that is an argument against this picture, but I think it also says a lot about him and his life. I watched a video recently from a photographer that I admire, and it was on portraiture, and he said, tell them not to smile, it'll be a better picture. Really? Well, Leonardo da Vinci didn't get that memo when he painted Lisa Gherardini to create the most famous smile in history, the Mona Lisa. No, smiling depends on the individual. For instance, here's a portrait I did of a British comedian. All-around nice guy, Sir Lenny Henry. Lenny is known for his loud, infectious laughter and personality. It had seemed wrong to photograph him without a big warm grin. He's bursting with fun. So I asked him to lift his hand up and cover his mouth. I'd got an idea, and guess what? I was right. Even with his hand in front of his mouth, you can still see Lenny is smiling. Another portrait comes to mind as well. A man I did called Wilf. He'd been the heart and soul of a community project, a garden allotment, for years. And after chatting to him and the other gardeners, it was clear he was a bit of a practical joker and the beating heart of that place. He was always laughing, joking, smiling for everyone. So here's my portrait. It's Wilf, having fun, smiling, laughing. I'm happy to have met him, and that picture said a lot about him. And I think that the viewer, even though they've never met Wilf, will build a picture in their mind of what he's like just by looking at that picture. Go through your portfolio and have a look at the portraits. Ask yourself the same question. Does my picture tell somebody else what that person's like? And be honest with yourself. Portraiture is one of the reasons I became a photographer, because it's about meeting people. It's about learning from people, the enjoyment of people. We're pre-programmed to love communicating. And it's about listening to people, empathising with their story. After all, it's their portrait as much as it is yours. So if you want to take better portraits, my advice to you is simple. Don't listen to the hacks. Don't listen to the tips and the tricks on how to do it. Don't listen to everything you ever need to know in 2 minutes. Don't listen to any of them. Listen to your subject. Maybe we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and maybe if we use them in that order, we're going to be able to hear and learn, empathise and react. And that's the secret to better portraiture. You're always going to be learning on your photographic journey, but don't try and learn the tricks of the trade. Instead, learn the trade. It's a big wide world out there. Go grab your camera, take some pictures,